So if you ever gone through trauma and you started to heal, right? You probably know it's not like the freaking movies where there's like this freaking 5-minute movie montage where you start to glow, you start to journal, you in this field, and your inner child comes down from the clouds and goes, ah, everything feels good. Yeah, it doesn't feel like that when you're healing from CPTSD or trauma, brother and sisters. So healing from trauma feels like you're trying to put a piece of furniture together, right? And halfway through, you realize that one page that you really needed is missing from the goddamn instructions, and you don't have a freaking screw to put that little piece in that other piece. And now 4 hours of work, you just screwed. That's kind of like healing from trauma, because when you heal from trauma, you dig into the deep unconscious parts of your brain and your mind and your body and your nervous system, and you're going, hey, let's fix this shit, bro. So today we're talking about 5 different ways you know that you're healing from trauma finally. But first, I need a water break because I took too much L-glutamine today, my new amino acid. And of course, I'm out of water. So number one is you stop craving chaos like it's caffeine. So for a long time, your nervous system thought that chaos was love and chaos was normal. So when you grow up in an unpredictable environment with emotional whiplash and abuse and constant tension, your body learned that stress was normal. But stress, constant chronic stress, is not normal at all. And what that does is it turns peace into life-threatening sensations in your body. Your body and your mind, you meet a new person and they're kind of normal and you go, yeah, that person is kind of boring. They're really not like the kind of person I like to hang out with. You're looking for that red flag spark that you go, yeah, that's more my person right there, because that's what you know. And so from a neurological standpoint, what that spark is your neurological system craving adrenaline that it has when it's in a dysregulated state. And when you don't give it that adrenaline, your body goes, yeah, I don't know what to do with this shit. So I'm going to just look for that spark, AKA red flag. And I'm going to hook up with this person, that person, that person, because they said they like me and I have nice arms. So here's the power of healing. When healing starts to happen, you start to notice that you don't crave this different feeling. You don't need that chaos. You actually feel calm and cool and relaxed when things are just boring. Boring in a good way, right? It's not like the end of the world. Nothing's falling off the cliff. The clouds are not coming into the earth and the earth is not flat. So you go, oh, okay, this actually feels good. This calmness is now different than what I'm used to, but I like it. So that boring person, AKA normal person, walks into your life and goes, hey, nice blue shirt. And you go, hey, thanks. I really appreciate that. And they go, you want to go get a coffee? And you go, yeah, I'll get a tea because I like black tea. Let's do it. And so what that normal person is doing is essentially saying, oh, I kind of like this person because they're not triggering my cortisol level. Your cortisol is the stress chemical in your brain that reacts to danger, and more danger. And so what basically has happened is your nervous system is learning how to rewire itself because your brain is plastic, unlike my crooked finger, but your brain is plastic and it can change. And that basically means the neurons in your brain that fire together, rewire together. So the more you think and act like this way, that's what your brain and your nervous system are going to start to become. So number two is you start catching your triggers in real time instead of 3 days later and you freaking emotionally flashbacked and disassociated and just ruminating on this one little trigger when the person said, hey, you want a cinnamon donut or a powdered donut? And you're like, why did they ask me that question? Well, buddy, you were at Dunkin' Donuts and they were asking you if you wanted this donut or that donut. So, you know, if you live with CPTSD, those post-trigger hangovers, well, you know those things extremely well. You say or do something and then your emotions just get flashed into the past and you get angry, you get upset, you start to freeze, you start to fawn. And then 9 years later, you go, who the hell was that person? Why did I show up to that situation like that? Well, it doesn't mean that you're never, ever going to feel like that when you're healing, but it does mean that you'll start to recognize your triggers a lot earlier and you give yourself that cognitive gap and go, I'm gonna take a step back, I'm gonna relax, I'm gonna think about why I'm upset, I'm gonna breathe. In my case, I like to napitate, where I nap, I meditate in the beginning, breath work, 10 minutes later, I'm out to the world, and then 10 minutes after that, usually 20 minutes, I'm up, I feel refreshed, and that trigger just went, fuck off, I don't need to feel that. Got it. So what that awareness does is it triggers your prefrontal cortex to say, hey, we need to try to regulate this before we spiral out of control, and Amy, aka the amygdala, starts to take over and just makes us feel like crap and isolate and withdraw and just not talk to people for like 90 freaking days straight. And you know, and I know that's not a good thing. And remember, when you're healing, you don't have to be perfect, right? So chill, guys, relax. But you're going to get triggered at times. But the more you heal and the more you grow and know about your triggers, the more you can go, I'm going to just rein this one back because that's not something I need to get so fired up about. And the more and more you do this, you are not sending so many dangerous signs to your amygdala that wants to just bust out because there's danger everywhere. And you're telling your amygdala, aka Amy, brosette, chill. Okay. And you keep doing that over time, and the amygdala starts to go, okay, I'm just going to set in the background like the place I belong. And your prefrontal cortex goes, yeah, we're going to sit up in the front because we are responsible for logic and executive level thinking. Number 3 is you start setting boundaries, and then this is the big part. You don't immediately apologize for setting those boundaries. In the past, when people cross your boundaries and you try to set them and they cross them again, you go, oh, okay, I'm just going to fawn to this person because this person's kind of dangerous. Nope, not this time. So when you learn how to set boundaries, you learn how to set that, hey, you can't cross this boundary. You need to back up. So early on, before your trauma recovery, you learn that abandoning yourself meant keeping the peace and not bringing danger onto yourself. But when you learn how to do boundaries in a healthy way, they're just meant to say, hey, we're good, you're good, this is my preference, this is your preference. We can meet in the middle somewhere, but I'm not going to just let you step all over me because I am not a doormat. But the beauty of it is when you start to heal, something inside your brain and your nervous system starts to shift. It goes, hey, I can't make it tonight. Thank you for the invite. I appreciate it. And that's it. There's no follow-up excuses. There's no over-explaining. There's no trying to fawn or appease to someone or people please. There's just, yeah, I got a whole bunch of shit to do tomorrow. I can't go out tonight. My bad. And so boundaries are a major part of healing because they tell you that you have self-worth. When you've been traumatized, especially with CPTSD, your self-worth just goes all the way down and you start to internalize toxic shame. And you tell yourself, I'm not good enough. Well, no one's ever going to like me. Well, I always have to appease to people in order to please them. Because if not, then they're dangerous, they're unpredictable, and that's not cool. So keep practicing those boundaries because over time, your brain is going to get trained to say boundaries are healthy, boundaries are safe, and then your nervous system and your brain are going to reprogram itself to say, you know what, I don't have to isolate. I can go out when I need to, and I can just take a day like a Friday off and hang out when I need to as well. It's all good. There needs to be a balance. Number 4 is a big one, and I'm super guilty to this as charged, is you stop needing everyone to understand you. And you start focusing on understanding yourself. Because when you start understanding yourself, people just naturally gravitate to you. The way you speak, the way you are, your crazy mannerisms and your flamboyant personality. You just accept it. When you learn how to accept yourself, people learn how to accept you. And you go, okay, cool. I can actually be myself and not always have to freaking get people to understand me. Because people who are going to understand me are going to do it regardless. People who misunderstand me, well, sorry, buddy. I can't help that. And number 5 is super important. You finally recognize that, hey, bro, instead of never ever trying to become triggered by anything again and being like a monk, which is damn near impossible, I can recognize these triggers and I can go, yeah, that's cool. I have a technique for that. Yeah, I can give myself a little space to feel this, not overreact to it, not underreact to it, and just give myself time to process. And what the beauty of this mindset does, it allows you to manage your symptoms as opposed to heal your symptoms. I often speak to a lot of folks who go, hey, Joe, can you ever truly heal, right? And depending on the severity of trauma, right? If you have a ton of developmental trauma with complex PTSD on top of that, right? Some of us, we would never 100% heal, but we learn how to manage our symptoms and we are okay with living in, you know what? This is a lifelong process to manage my symptoms. And with time, they do get better because again, your brain is definitely changeable. You can change it. So remember that healing isn't about always being in this Zen-like meditative state. You are going to have your days, you're going to have your good, you're going to have your in-between, and you're going to have your not so good. But it's always about bringing balance back to you. You're the most important part in your healing. Everyone else is just secondary, right? They can be a part of your healing, but if you put yourself first and you do the work is going to do you. That sounded crazy. On that note, I apologize for that cringy outro, but I specialize in cringe and I'm just going to roll the tape.
Silent Mind said, if you do the work will do you, bro. It will do you, bro.